All right, I wanted to take a few minutes to go over how to draw the Hebrew alphabet. Now, this was covered in the class, and if you watch that class, you'll also see it there, but in case you wanted a shorter video, that I do it here. So we're going to go through and talk about each letter. So the Aleph, which is really takes the sound of your vowels. What you're going to do, you're going to kind of take a diagonal across and then almost make just like a little, like a S loop type thing. So just kind of diagonal across and then a loop coming across. So that's your Aleph. Let's go to your Beit, which is your B or V sound. We didn't cover that in the class, but it does. If it's at the beginning, it has a B. If it's inside the word, you can probably assume it's probably a V sound. They sound very similar in practice. But anyway, you're going to kind of come across the top, down, and then you're going to start from somewhere and go just past the point of the bottom there. You have like a little tail hanging off. So it's going to come down almost like a back, like a 7, and then it's going to come across and go just past. So to see it there, that's your Beit, your B sound. Your Gimel, you're going to kind of come down to a point, and then you're going to put 2 little legs on it. So it's going to come down almost like a backwards R, and then put 2 little legs on it. And so that's going to be your Gimel, that's your G sound. Then your Dalet, it's going to be a straight line across, and just from the right edge, you're going to come straight down, but you leave a little bit hanging off on the right-hand side. So go across, leave a little bit hanging on the right side. This one's going to look a lot like your Resh. The difference between this one and the Resh is the Resh has no extra little point like right here. So Dalet has that. It's your D sound. Then you're going to have your Hey. It's just a short line and then come above it and go down, or like a 7 above it. So short line, above it, and down. That's all you're going to do for your Hey. It's an H sound. Then you're going to have your Vav, which you can just simply kind of make like a little cane. And it's just going to almost like a very, very skinny 7. It's going to come down and it's going to stop at the line. It's important, especially whenever it's going to look a lot like the final Nun later. But the final Nun goes below the line, but the Vav stops at the line. Very important. It's a W or a V sound. If it's at the beginning of a word, it's almost exclusively a V sound, unless it has a dot inside of it, but we'll get to that. You see that in the class. So you've got Zion, which is just a short little diagonal, and then kind of from the middle of it coming down. Short diagonal coming down from just past that from the middle. It almost looks like a crooked T. That's your Z sound. Your Chet is like your Hey, but it connects and it goes. You have one line, start just past it and come over and down. You leave just a little bit on the corner there. So coming down, and there's your Chet. So it has that little tiny overhang here on the side. That's going to be your sound, your CH, hard CH. Then your Tate, I like to just simply almost like make it like a bit of a spiral. It's going to come around. You can make it pretty simple. It's going to spiral around, almost like you're making a 6 in a sense. Think of it that way. And then that's your T sound, one of your T sounds. Your Yod is just a comma in the air. That's all you have to do. Just make a comma, but put it up in the air instead of on the line. That's a Y sound. Kaf, there's 2 different types. I'll go back up here. Kaf, and it's like it's a backwards capital C. If you're anywhere in the word other than the last letter, it's like that. It's a capital, like a backwards capital C. If it is at the end of a word, though, it's going to kind of come across almost like the Dalet, but it's going to go down below the line. So you're going to have that. It's going to go below the line like a Dalet, skinnier than a Dalet, and going below the line. There's your Kaf. It's at the end of a word only. And remember, you're going from right to left, so you'll find it on the far left of a word. It's still that K sound. Your Lamed, you're going to come down, and then you're going to make like a 7. You're going to come down like a little line and make like a curly 7. It's going to come. That's your L sound, your Lamed. It's going to be there. Let's see, you've got your Mem, you've got 2 of those. If it's anywhere in the word, you're going to make like a little small, almost kind of a rounded, almost like or a lengthened out C, and you're going to come from the top of that, come around and down and back. So you're going to do your little idea here, around and over. Come a hump and over. Now, if it's at the end of a word, so at the far left, you're going to just make a square, but with a little, just kind of like we did on the Hey, it's going to have a little hangover on the top left corner, but you're going to make a square. It's going to hang over a little bit, and it's going to make a square. That's your final MAME. So if it's on the far left of a word, still an M, still the same letter, it just looks different. It's at the end of the word. Noon is, there's two of these. It's just like a kind of a backwards, almost like you're making a backwards E, but you're not doing the middle part. Just a backwards E, not doing the middle part. If it's at the end of the word, it's like the Vav over on the left, but it's going to go down below, like that cane, but it's going to go below the line. So a Vav that just basically extends down below the line. That's your final Noon. It's going to be on the far left of a word. Then you've got your Samek. This one I always have trouble with. You can do it one of two ways. You can start and go around this way and finish it. Or if you want, I mean, some of you may be better, you may be more neat going the opposite direction. It doesn't really matter. It's the opposite of the sigma in Greek. It's kind of the flip of it pretty much. So Samek, S sound. Ayin is like just make a fancy Y. You come around and go around like this. So you're going to make it just a fancy, almost like a cursive Y. And you've got your Ayin. That one has no sound to it. It takes the sound of whatever vowel is below it. It's your Ayin. Your Pei, this was a little tricky. It's like it's making a kind of a spiral, a clockwise spiral, starting from the middle, coming out, up, over, and around like this. It almost looks like a kind of a weird G or a 9 or something like that. You're going to make your way around. That's your Pei. Now, if it's a final one, far left of the word, it looks similar, but you're going to come up and down, and you're going to go below the line. So it looks like a very tall, skinny number 9 that doesn't connect right here. There's no connection right here. You leave that space, but it's almost like a 9 that goes below the line. That's your final Pei. So still the same P sound on the far left. Sade, this is one of the trickier ones. Yeah, you just have to kind of see how it's made. So it's almost like you're making a Y, but then you're kind of connecting up here. So you're curving around, almost like a B, I guess, if you want to think about it, without the left side kind of here attached, and then you bring it down from there. So that's a Sade. It's a TS sound. Now, if it's at the end of the word, you can just kind of come down, and almost like you're making a capital K, but it goes below the line, but you're not making the bottom, you're not making that bottom part. You're just almost look like a backwards Y. So there's your Sade. The final one, if it's at the far left of the word. Excuse me. Kof, it looks like a P, but that doesn't connect. That's all it is, like a kind of a P that's blocked off in a triangle, and it doesn't connect. It's a Kof. It's a Q sound or a K. Your Resh, just draw a backwards R, and you're good. A backwards R with a rounded point here. It's not straight. It's a rounded R, like it's like a backwards R, still has an R sound. It's probably one of the easiest ones to remember. Your Seen and Sheen are the same. Make a U and then turn it into a little bit of a pitchfork in the middle. The Seen is going to be the dot on the left, and that's, you make your little pitchfork, dot on the left. U, pitchfork, dot on the left. Sheen is the exact same letter, a U, pitchfork, but the dot is on the right. And it's the same, it's technically actually the same letter in Hebrew. They're not two separate letters, but they are pronounced differently. But Seen and Sheen. And then your last one, Tav, it's like your Chet, but there's a foot on it. So you're going to have like your little foot there, and then you're going to make your Chet. So the Chet, if you notice on the far left, second from the bottom, it doesn't have this little foot on it. So you're going to make your little, almost like a capital J, then come around and down. So that's your Tate. So it's going to be a similar one to your Chet, which is going to throw you off a little bit, but notice the foot. The foot tells you it's a T sound. So that should hopefully help you to know how to do the alphabet. If you want to see the vowels and how they work, then you need to look at that on the larger video. Hope that's a help to you.